any kind of HD or anything is gonna save a lot.
I'm not gonna be able to save nothing.
Well,
My bill now is $61, and I have high definition.
Okay,
So how's that saving me any money?
because it's $61 a month is $83, right? And it's gonna go
It's
up.
61 what you're paying through, plus what you're paying through Stoneybrook.
Yeah, but Stoneybrook doesn't, I'm just saying, you know, it can't.
So it's not 60, your bill's
Yeah.
not $61.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot more.
111. It's about 111, 112 if you really look at it, what you're paying us. So what you'll be paying us next year will be $80. So it's a $31 a month savings. And the fact is that you're going to get a lot better service than what you're getting right now. And everybody forgets about this. We're getting fiber optics installed. And that's significant, both in the quality of the service, the ability to expand service in the future, as well as it does add
We'll
value
see,
to the homes.
eyes in the sky.
Yeah. I'm happy with what I got and leave it alone.
Well, a lot of people are still having trouble with the underground wires, and that was one of the reasons that we did it. There's still a lot of problems. That's one of the, that Terry and Jennifer Tarja, you probably see them post complaints all the time. Turns out they got 2 breaks in the ground going to their house.
Yeah, I know, one of their neighbors or somebody had to go over and help them, and their cable was all chopped up underground.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
everybody's been telling them that for years,
I know.
and all they want to do is sit back and bitch like Comcast, so.
I agree.
Hell was.
I agree.
It's nuts.
Well, 2 things have happened.
That's why I don't get on that damn Facebook site.
That's what-
You know.
If you want to just read it, and all the questions that come up, and there's some legit people looking for recommendations on stuff.
Yeah.
All the stuff dealing with the HOA and all that kind of stuff. All these people, instead of taking the time to type it in, pick up the phone, call the clubhouse,
Yeah.
and talk to Shannon or Sue, and you'll find out what it is officially.
Or
so
they refer
10
them,
people
or
telling
they
you 10
refer them
different
to me.
ways.
That's what happens a lot of times. But the thing is that honestly, a process starts and this information starts getting
Oh, yeah.
spread around. And that's when I'll sometimes throw something in the system. How you doing?
Okay, a little sinus thing going on, so.
Oh, okay. It's that time of year and there is a lot of mold out there in the air. You know, I've been sneezing and coughing. Sue's coughing right
JT gonna be here?
now. No. And I don't know why. He just called at the last minute. Would you like a copy of whatever we got?
Yeah, it wasn't on the website, except
You know, they don't get it until like the last minute sometimes.
that's the chairman's fault.
Actually, there's nobody here taking notes, that's the problem. We depend upon somebody who's over at Severn Trent to take the minutes, and I have to be careful to make sure I say who says what, because otherwise I have no clue. Everybody here, I could start in a minute, I guess, but I want to make sure everything's running.
Oh, you've got a quorum.
Yeah, I know we have a quorum.
He came in and turned it on, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it is on. I'm willing to start if you guys want to start. Get it over
Sure.
with. It's gonna be quickie.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, if everybody's in agreement, it is November 7th, 2:55, 2:56 maybe, and we'll start the Gateway Stoneybrook Advisory Committee meeting, our monthly meeting, and take attendance. We have everyone except JT Thomas and Virginia Stacy in attendance. We have a quorum. There are 5 present, myself, Janice Lancaster, Thomas Roller, Dick Zukowski, Angela Sullivan, so we have 5 people. With that said, let's just take a look at the minutes from last month. I know there were some things that we did change a bit.
Yeah, that's the someone wrote final on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to know why we have to proofread the minutes. We should be getting the minutes in final form. Spell correct, spell check, grammar check. All, what we're getting is an extremely rough draft.
These minutes are coming from Severn Trent, and I don't know why they don't do a better job on this, other than maybe they just don't take it very seriously.
Do we have our buttons up or down, or whatever?
Yeah, up is on,
Yeah, up is
so if you want to. So in effect, you know, it's not like Diane is doing the minutes anymore. She may review them before
Who's
she sends them
responsible for
off.
the minutes? Diane's responsible for the minutes, isn't she? If she gets them from Severn Trent, she ought to be reading them and correcting spelling errors and grammar errors before she sends them to us.
I won't argue with that. I do know that she has a lot to do, and,
And it's not that, I mean,
hear
Word
you.
does that for you. I mean, mine came in and words were underlined in red because they were misspelled and the grammar was pointed out to them and I don't know what they're using, but their software probably does the same thing. as
well,
ours.
that one I'm gonna blame on Severn Trent, because they send it to her in that form. I
So
don't
can
know
we
why
ask
they would change.
her to tell them to make sure that it's spell checked?
She's listening to us right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can ask her to try to make sure they do a better job, let them know
Because
that was not
it's their
good.
job, so she shouldn't have to double check them, it should already be done right.
No,
I think part of this, she's
responsible
supposed
for
to
it.
double check it,
She's responsible for it, not the county. You don't make contractors responsible for it.
but generally speaking, the final approval is still up to us to review and see what's going on. Anybody have any problems with it, with the minutes? I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, motion to accept the minutes, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. This
Listen,
ain't complicated.
I have to recluse.
All right, Janice made the motion to accept the minutes, and Angela seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Okay. I don't know if anybody there is listening. I don't know if Chris is available, but I have some questions about the power washing of the sidewalks and the curbs. Yeah, can I ask you a favor, Angela, just stick your head in there and see if there's someone
Who am I
just,
asking for?
anybody who can answer the question about the
Power
wash,
washing.
pressure washing coming up in the next
I'm not,
month or
it's
so.
okay to open this door?
Yes.
To go around?
Yeah, no, you can go right there, stick your head in.
Sorry, Claudia, somebody that would be able to answer questions about power washing. It's on our agenda. We just found out somebody's not listening. Thank you. Okay.
I'm gonna say this, because not everybody here, maybe none of you know it. Mike Tisch's last day was October 31st. So that would have been the person we would have been asking about this, and so I don't know the answer to that question, and we might have to ask Chris if he's here,
Then-
otherwise.
Do we have a person's name in place of Mike Tisch to
No,
contact?
he has not been replaced yet,
Okay. 'Cause
as
he-
of this time.
He did call me on the signs, and I got overwhelmed at calling back because I couldn't get to my phone to look up.
What did he want about calling
I had
about?
called and asked specifically about the signs, the painting, the repairs, and a lot
Okay.
of them, if we could just get them painted, and I have the specifics of 2 on Gemstone and 1 on Weatherstone.
Okay.
And then a new one we have is already broken.
Well, I think we're going, I know, I saw that, I'm gonna tell you something.
I can't
That one
believe
is
that.
on Mainscape as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
but it's gotta be warranted or covered by somebody.
Well, if they hit it, they hit it. How you doing, Al?
I'm good, thanks.
Alrighty. Pressure washing, I know that this is not normally your item, but Mike, I understand, is no longer with us.
That's correct. I can check into it and maybe see, did he have it already lined up?
He was
did.
supposedly going to line it up, and today we were going to discuss when to do it. And I'd like to get it done before the end of the year while we're early on the curve on the dry season.
Sidewalks and curbs?
Yeah, now, it's a sidewalk on one side, the concrete. We usually don't do the other side because we'll probably just break it up if we
Yeah,
pressure
well-
wash that. But also, I know that Tom has brought it up, and so have I, and I did have a discussion with the individual who does the job, because we always feel like they don't go far enough around the corners. on the side, on the curbing, and come to find out, he stood there and went over with me and showed me what the problem was. And the equipment that he uses to run down the street and do that stuff, he says he can only go around the sidewalk so far before it gets to the point. He has to go all the way down to the end of the street and come all the way back around and up again. So he said, I can do that, but I'm gonna charge you more. So,
Oh, and can I interrupt?
sure,
Margaret talked to me today
Yeah.
and asked me to bring it up, and it comes out of the 004 fund,
yes.
so there shouldn't be a problem with more cost.
Well, that's something we gotta talk about. Do we wanna pay them and how much more? So possibly if we contact them, and the issue comes down, how far around do we want them to go, past the crosswalks, I would think, to the
So
side,
to the
we need a
property
quote, we
line.
don't have a
to the
quote.
They
property
should go
line.
to the property line.
That's a good way to put it.
But he doesn't, there's no way for him to tell where that is.
No, but you can sort of make a pretty educated guess, and just getting beyond the crosswalk would certainly be a step in the right direction.
Did he give you a figure on what?
No.
He just said
No.
more, okay.
At that point in time, it was late in the day, and he was finishing up the end of the sidewalk. And
Well, the last 2 years, they haven't power washed those turns, and they're filthy. They're filthy, right? I mean, they're right there on our own street, you know. Willie, who doesn't power wash his yard very often, but at least you can tell up the property line from there up to the Pebblebrook, it's just black.
So we need to see how much more he would charge us to at least get around, and if not with his big piece of equipment, maybe with a, handheld to do it. I gotta believe they can hook a hose and a manual handheld onto the equipment they're using just to do a small area when they need be. I know he uses a device to do the sidewalks that I think is as good as anybody's done. We've had some pretty poor jobs in the past. It looked terrible last year. But we'd like to get it done so that hopefully during the dry season it looks pretty good. And then hold off next year until after the trees drop all the junk they drop. Because the last couple of years we've done it, and then almost immediately after, in some parts of the sidewalk, the trees did their thing and it got junky and slippery all over again almost immediately, within a month anyway.
So is it cleaning only or a sealant afterwards?
No,
No
they don't do any of
sealant.
that, no
No
sealant.
sealant.
Yeah, they don't use chemicals either, and they won't either. If they-
That's good.
Yeah.
So do we need somebody to supervise that? I remember we talked about somebody making sure it was done right. Or
I
is it-
think last year you volunteered
I
to do
did.
it, but there were,
I'm like, call me.
yeah, well, what happened is, if you recall, that happened to be the same time they came in and do the lake.
Okay.
And so everything was piecemeal. It just didn't all happen the same day and at one time.
So
In
is the
fact-
job done almost, or it's not done at all?
What do you mean?
Not done
We
at
haven't
all.
started it yet.
Haven't even started it,
No,
okay.
no, that has to be done. And what happened last year also was that I did not get notified ahead of time when they were coming. So I couldn't even give you a heads up. I happened to be leaving the community and saw them halfway down the sidewalk already.
But we can request that and say that we have.
Yeah, we did last year, but we can request it again.
Okay, or we'll have supervision.
Yeah, prior notification, so
Prior
we-
notification,
of
if
when they're
somebody's going
coming,
to
yeah.
supervise.
It'd be nice.
Do they just do Pebblebrook, or do they do all the streets?
No, just,
I know the one side.
yeah. Yeah, we do the curbs on both sides, but we don't do the sidewalk on the other side. If it was concrete, we'd probably do
What,
it.
what company do we use?
Who was it last year?
I have no idea.
I
I'm
know
sorry.
we've, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I
I
made
know
myself a note to check my Tish's files for the
Yeah,
contract.
and I'm sure Diane has it in her file too somewhere.
I'm sure.
Not
yeah.
super guy.
Because we have
No,
to
not
contact them to
super.
find out how much more, right?
Well,
We still
that's,
have to find out.
you do know that we're curious about how much more he would charge us, just to wrap it around the curb a little bit further. And I know he gave me the whole presentation about the equipment, but can they do it manually, just to get
Well,
around
it
that
wasn't.
corner?
That was in the specification that he bid before.
I agree.
So how can he possibly bid to the specification and then come in later and charge us more to meet the specification?
He did charge us more, but he didn't do all the way
Well,
around. He
same
did to a
thing.
point, but not as far as we would
But
have liked.
he wants more money to do what he bid on.
I think here, the answer here is, we've never actually stood out there with him and said, this is where we wanna go to. So I think that
I'll be
probably
happy
is.
to take a can of spray paint and
Mark it up.
mark
If
right
it-
here.
And if this is still here, you didn't go far enough. Anybody have anything for Al on that subject?
On the other side of the street, it's curbs around to the property line as well, right? He does the curbs on the other side.
Yeah, he does the curves on both sides. It should be the same process on
So
both sides.
he would
Yeah.
round the corners on both
Yeah.
sides, he's just doing the walk on
Yeah, he said, and you know, if you drive down our streets, and it's something we don't really focus on usually, but if you look at it, the crosswalks on different streets are set back different distances, so it's
Yeah,
not
you
all
can't-
the
You
same.
can't use that as a guide.
I know, and it is not clear cut, but something we gotta talk to him about, but we'd like to do before the end of the year. And even sooner possibly, if he can, I don't know what his schedule is.
Well, if he wants to charge more, I mean, there are other people out there that do this kind of stuff.
I will say that's true, but we did shop around in the past, and I don't know.
We
if-
took a three-year thing.
I don't think
contract.
it's a 3-year,
I think it was, that's why we got it so-called cheaper.
But we're not doing it now, we're just
Because he
doing,
wasn't doing the
Well, I'm
whole
just saying,
job.
that's why it was.
but this is just a one-time thing, we're not doing another contract, right?
Well, I don't even know
This
if
is the
we even
third
are under
year.
the contract right now
Oh,
or
this
not.
is the third year.
I'm not sure, I'm
Who
not
has
sure
that
that's correct.
information?
I think so.
Because
Well,
if you remember, we used to do it only once a year. We did change it to twice a year because it just seemed it was apparent that we needed to do that. It was too long
I'll
to
get
go.
with Diane and go back through the minutes.
We need to know
and-
what our
and we'll-
contract
And we'll
is.
look up the paperwork
Okay.
and see what that is. Sorry, I'm just unfamiliar with it.
Oh, absolutely, I understand. Is there anybody coming in, do you know of? to-
I don't know at this time.
Okay. Do you have anything for us, how the plantings are going or where things stand?
The new ones that we put, not the enhancements, the enhancements was supposed to have been on this past agenda,
Mhm.
and that did not, get added to the agenda.
Okay. This is with the supervisors?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because even though this committee approved it and it is
They
your
have
budget
to get
funds,
approved, I
because of the
understand.
dollar amount, it does have to go before the board.
Well, they did approve the $20,000 for that purpose. That
They
was
did do
approved.
that, that's
Yeah.
right, and that's what I put in my memo.
Mhm.
However, like I say, it didn't get sent in to Infomart to be
Okay.
put on the agenda.
Gotcha. Well,
It got sent in, but it didn't get sent in to Infomart.
I understand there's going to, the meeting, the next meeting, which is not this Thursday, but next Thursday,
Yes,
is
it
going to
is.
start early also.
I was asked to resend that to, management, so they could, at this time, get it in for the next meeting.
Okay. And the
But-
purpose, just to let everybody know, the purpose for starting that meeting early at 1 o'clock, I believe, is, what are they trying to do?
What, supervisors meeting?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm,
Just don't know. I know they have cut you out of that.
Yes.
That could go, yeah, yeah.
It's going to be I think it's on the board, there's supposed to be a presentation on projects and a white paper put together by Supervisor Tinkle and explain why he wants to spend $20 million to get these things done. So that's a 2-hour presentation.
Well,
Good
along
thing to
that
be at.
venue, I'd like to congratulate and put it in the minutes, the winning candidates for the Board of Supervisor election. And I personally, speaking for myself, I'm happy with the results. In any case, that might be tough for him to get that to go anywhere, if you know what I mean. Anybody have anything else for Al?
I do, because Mike is not here, and I don't know whose desk it's gonna land on. I was really hoping that we could do this by December 1st, just with Christmas coming up. There's at least 2 street signs on Gemstone, one or two on Weatherstone, and I've got them documented in my phone. He did call me, and he and I never connected to get it done. I just think at this point, it'd just be so nice just to get them painted. I know there's one that's broken that needs a repair we can talk about later, but if we could just get somebody to spray paint those things green. The street signs that are damaged, they get beat up all the time, they've been that way for years.
You know, maybe this is something we need to talk to Mace to get a couple cans of paint, get out there and paint them for us.
Which ones did you say again? I'm sorry.
Gemstone has at least two, and they're full signs. Oh my gosh, and then I just remembered, there's two metal signs in the neighborhood. One is when you leave the clubhouse, and I've got the other one, maybe that's on Weatherstone too. They don't even have the green post, they're still missing in, Stoneybrook. Metal
Are you sure?
poles.
When was the last time you looked at that?
I
What was on
actually
those
took
signs?
pictures.
What was on?
Stop sign as you leave the clubhouse, there's a silver stick that it's
Mhm.
on, and then the Weatherstone is maybe a no parking or something, it's down there, it's on a stick.
I believe that has been replaced.
The
I'll
street
drive
park, and
through
those
today.
street parking signs were replaced.
Okay, there was only
With the
one left.
decorative posts.
Yeah, there were,
October 10th, has it been done since October 10th?
I believe so.
I believe it
I'll
has.
check it
Yes,
today.
that, I believe that was in the last couple of weeks.
And I only know that because I just happened to be here when Likens brought back
Awesome.
the post that just had the metal,
Yes,
C-channel or whatever that's called with the sign on it, and they had replaced it with a decorative
You know, I
post.
have to say that since I'm sure we're paying for the new signs, and I'm sure we paid for the signs that we were using temporarily, we probably should get them and maybe keep them in our dumpster area, just in case we're getting a jam or need something.
Well, the signs that they
The
brought
old
back,
ones they brought back, yeah, I didn't know
they're,
they
they're
brought
right out
there.
back here,
All
if
right.
you want them.
so the
If you have
ones-
somewhere to store them.
Yeah, well, in the dumpster.
Because really, we don't, they're just out behind this, like, on
Exactly.
pallet with some other things.
What happened last year is that one of them was in the dumpster area, that's why we had it, we kept
Gotcha.
it there. And, yeah, if there's three up there, let's put them there, let's get them in the dumpster, in case something happens, that's,
You got room in your car?
no.
No, they're not gonna fit, that's gonna take a
They're pretty
truck.
long.
So I guess then the
Backwood pickup, maybe
one,
JT, but he's not here.
two question would be,
So,
when
but,
leaving the clubhouse is a stick, silver
And-
stick.
and it's a stop sign?
Yes, ma'am.
That one I don't know.
I will check on that.
Okay, and then, I don't know if I need to email these pictures to you of the giant gap of the hedges. There's two places that we were talking as you leave the clubhouse and you're coming into the neighborhood.
Those are going to be handled through the HOA.
Okay,
Actually, we had a discussion, last week with Freddie when Kathy was with me, and I told her that you had brought that up, and she said that that had gone,
I believe the
Through the-
office has already discussed that with me.
and I believe that Mainscape already has a proposal in
Yeah.
hand to connect, because you know there never was a hedge there.
I know, but
But-
it's,
but
even
they
though there
have a-
wasn't,
they
we
have a-
still need one.
Well, I'm just saying, they have approved a proposal for
Good.
Mainscape to connect the one hedge on Pebblebrook
Good.
to that one bed that's behind.
Who did that?
Like I said, that's outside of my realm,
Oh,
I
that's
don't
okay.
manage
That's
that
on our
area.
property, it's not their property.
That's Master Association property.
Because they told me to bring it up at this meeting, that's why.
Well, it's possibly because
So
there's
now
a
we're back.
misunderstanding
No
where you were
problem.
talking about. Because
Good.
they probably thought you were talking about a hedgerow right along Pebblebrook. But this is
It's a couple feet
perpendicular
back,
off
I
of
guess.
Pebblebrook, and it's not
Okay.
here. And I know that it was brought up to Mainscapes, and I was just waiting myself, just, I hadn't seen anything.
So who told Mainscape to do it, HOA?
I believe so, yeah, we have a meeting with them every couple of weeks.
Oh, good. So we can just find out when they're gonna do that, right? Okay,
Should be hearing from them.
awesome. Thank you.
You're most welcome anytime.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Got anything else for us, Al?
Not at this time.
Okay, well, thanks for your time, we
You're
appreciate it.
most welcome.
Thank
And
you.
as always, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to contact me.
Take care.
Thank you.
Now, power wash sidewalk, we'll wait till we hear back on that one and then see what they have to say. Ed-
Are you gonna wait until they have, the meeting's not till the 12th of December, you're gonna be into January.
hang on, we got a meeting coming up,
This is November.
right, but they got a meeting coming up next week. They meet twice a month, and they have a meeting coming up next week, and I think she said it was gonna be on the agenda, if I remember correctly.
It should be. The 1 o'clock meeting is a workshop.
Yeah, and then the regular meeting
starts
after
at 3,
that.
so it shouldn't affect the agenda.
And
the agenda.
I thought she said they didn't make the agenda the last time, but
But
it
it should be on this one, that's
yeah.
what she said.
Yeah. So I think that shouldn't be a problem. This, you know, the key thing here is we're called an advisory committee, and the emphasis on advisory, so
We'll
that's all we
start
can really
early
do.
anyway.
Yeah. At this point in time, I want to say, did you talk to Diane at all about your email? And did she have any comments or anything?
No,
Dick, I can't even remember how many years you've been coming down here. but
a
Dick-
lot,
Yeah.
just a little under yours.
And Dick is gonna be
You're the
resigning, yeah, well, that's, actually, she
That's-
predates me. Her and Virginia predate me.
I think.
They were here before, isn't that correct? As you were, or am I
I
wrong?
don't think so, not Janice,
Well,
no.
maybe Virginia was.
Virginia.
predates
Virginia's
me.
been there a long time.
Yeah,
In any case, Dick is gonna be stepping down. I want to say thank you to him for coming down on a monthly basis and giving up his time.
you're
And
welcome.
we appreciate it. And,
Get paid.
you know, this
Give
is one of the-
somebody else a chance.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll have to discuss that. This is one of those little things that we do that nobody really knows much about. And sometimes it becomes important. A lot of meetings, really, nothing of substance really gets discussed. But this is our way to get important subjects brought up to the supervisors. We don't always have the supervisors coming from our community as we have right now. And in the past, it could be a battle sometimes. But we do thank you and offering your opinions and whatnot.
You're welcome.
And hopefully in the future, we'll see where it goes. Anybody else have anything?
I just want to ask about the green paint. So it's going through Mainscape, we're gonna ask?
I'd like to bring that up, and especially because they broke another sign. I noticed that too. And, you know, it's ridiculous. They got those guys zooming around the thing, and they hit it with the lawnmower. They're always rushing. And it's, they should be responsible for that.
So we don't have to wait till another meeting to get anything done, is what
Well,
I'm trying to
we'll
figure
try
out.
to do something with Mainscapes, okay?
Because this was brought up at our last meeting, and I was told to bring it up here.
Well, the one new sign I just noticed this past week that's broken.
Right, and I mentioned that last month about the broken sign.
Why, I
Oh,
didn't
no,
know there
no,
was a
no,
new
no, no,
one.
sorry, I took the picture after the meeting,
Yeah, okay,
apologize.
because the other ones I knew about there were cracked, but they're.
The one on Greenstone, just as you turn our way, they're right about Willie's house, all the paint's beaten off the bottom of it up about this far too,
Mhm.
so it's not broken yet, but there's no paint left on it.
Well, the brakes usually come from them hitting with the lawnmower, but the paint's from the weed
The
whacker.
weed whacker, yeah.
And they're supposed to put something down around those poles to hold the grass back so they don't have to whack it with the weeds. We'll bring that
You
up.
mean, like a roundup or something?
Something that's, yeah, something that suppresses the plants immediately around the base.
I don't see.
Yeah, actually,
Some of them do,
You're
you're right, some of them do.
Yeah.
That one doesn't.
No, probably not.
I guess I could walk up there and do that, my roundup.
You would think with all the dogs using it, it wouldn't be a problem.
Think so.
My goal is just to see if there's any way, who do we talk to get it done by November 1st, which is already the first
November
weekend.
1st?
I mean, sorry, December 1st, I just wanted it done before Christmas.
I think we try to do that one, let's try it through the office, okay? Through
Okay.
Shannon, and we'll bring it up to her. And if you wanna mention it
I just don't wanna
yourself.
wait till another meeting, I wanna talk to
No, but I will
somebody
tell
that will
you.
get it done.
There's a lot going on right now in that office and things that we don't like to talk about, but
Okay.
nevertheless, they are somewhat overwhelmed too.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? Warren, you got anything going on?
Just information, Jeff Sessions resigned this afternoon.
Did he?
Did?
Yeah, just, and that's what I'm checking my phone at the request of the president.
Not surprised,
Way
but
too
that's.
long.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I have an idea of who I'd like to have in there, but I don't think it'll happen. So-
Like you?
No.
Okay, if you got nothing else, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, Dick makes his last motion as a committee member to adjourn. Is there any, do I have a second?
Second?
Angela's gonna second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed, and we are done with today's meeting. Oh, one more thing.
Always one more.
Yeah,
Can't
I always
take a vote
forget
now.
this one, and that is the schedule for next,
Yes,
December 12th.
December 12th,
December
just to
12th.
mention it, and is that okay with everyone?
yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dick.
Okay, guys,
Yay.
you could send my Rolex to my home address.
You mean that plastic one?
Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your retirement.
Thanks, John.
See you, kiddo.
Yep, be careful.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Take care, guys.
Have a good week.
Is virtual private network.
Yes.
Do you know anybody that uses one?
No. If they, not anybody that I know for sure.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they don't, but take care, Angela.
Have a good week.
I was hoping that maybe JT might.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hope everything's all right, because I talked to him less than an hour before he called here, and he said he's on his way home, and because he wanted to talk to me about something, so I actually got there a little early today.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah.
So I'm thinking about using one because it's supposed to provide a lot of security to your home network.
Do you really do feel the need for that much?
Well, the other day, I need new tires. I need to either trade cars or buy new tires, I'm kind of at that point right
Yeah.
now. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep it and just trade for tires. So I looked up tires on the internet. In less than 5 minutes, I only get ads popping up on my home page for tires. And I'm thinking, somebody is watching every single move I make.
Yeah, I don't know if they're watching it or just the fact, and you were just looking, you didn't actually go to a specific site, did you ask for a quote or
No,
something?
oh, no, I was just looking. I was looking for no, I didn't.
Because
I
usually I thought that was triggered when you actually go and click on a site.
And ask for a quotation?
Yeah, or something.
No, I didn't go near that far. No, I was just looking. I was looking for a specific tire, and I think I probably entered that information.
I know, every year I always shop my insurance around,
Mm-hmm,
and boy, I get hammered after that, phone calls and
yeah.
emails. And I just got another one the other day. I mean, it's been 6 months, 5 months.
Well, a VPN will encrypt from you to the VPN server.
Yeah, my understanding is that is
And
correct.
then
You might
beyond-
slow it down a little bit, but I'm just
With the new
curious.
service, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, not that much.
And beyond that, see, people can't identify your IP address.
Mhm.
Because if they get anything, it's the IP address of the server, and my understanding is a lot of those are spoofed. And so what they send out is a false IP address. So people can't follow your IP address back.
Okay.
And in fact, I think there's a way from my iPad to my home phone or to my home computer to set up my own VPN with just a simple app, which I'm going to try. Because see, we travel, I access some pretty sensitive data on my computer at home, and I've got a spreadsheet which is password protected, in Excel. It's got probably a couple of hundred passwords, including my financial stuff. And if somebody got into that, I'd be ruined in a
Key to
heartbeat.
the kingdom, I
It is,
understand.
it is. And so and I've read several articles recently about VPNs, and it basically says you're stupid if you don't have one.
No kidding. Well,
Yeah, it really, are you familiar with CNET? They do a lot of reviewing of electronics, CNET.
I have heard of them. I can't say familiar with the going to.
But I'm on their mailing list, and they drive me nuts, but they have good, because they send so much stuff, but they have some good articles if you can just sift through it, and I was reading one of those.
Well, I'm curious as to how do you do it and how much extra does it cost?
It's not all that much, it's something $30, $40 a year. It's not much.
No, it's not bad. I thought you were gonna say that in a month or something.
No, it's just dollars a month. I mean, once it's set up, it's all automatic. There's no human intervention or anything to it. It's just a service it's under their server. And my router has encryption capability, and yours probably does too. You have to go through. And with this, I have to download an app, and I think I can do that. But going out on the internet from home, that's a different story. And you need somebody else's setup. And I think it probably will slow it down a little bit. But see, I've got McAfee checking everything that comes in to mine,
Well, you use McAfee, you don't just stick with what Comcast gives you?
I've used McAfee for a year.
Yeah, but you gotta pay for that though.
Yeah, it's
Because
$50 a year, something like that.
it's not that
Maybe more,
bad.
maybe
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I think it might be, but I'm not sure. I think it depends what level of protection you have.
And how many computers you have.
That's true. Yeah, usually it's one or a cluster. It might be.
Yeah, it's probably more than
three or
that.
four.
Maybe it's 8.
But I will tell you that I've had pretty good luck with the system that Comcast, which is
Quite honestly,
Norton.
I didn't even know Comcast.
Yeah, they provide Norton for no charge. It's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that.
And the only problem I have with that is that Microsoft keeps on coming in and trying to shut it off and make me use their Windows firewall. And I don't let them make any modifications now. Because sometimes I used to allow automatic and I go do things. All right.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's not anything else. These days, no one remembers your number, it's on your phone, and you remember. Take care. All right. Take care. You too.